ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay. So last time Brajashnu we had seen till here. If you remember, those who were not there, please listen to the audio. I think last week's audio there was some error in that. I could not post it, so I will be doing that soon. Most probably today or so I should do it. It was ready, but then there is some technical issue. It's not getting uploaded, so I will share that soon. Okay. So Brajashnu, if you remember, anyone remembers about Brajashnu? What we saw? No. Okay, no problem. So Brajashnu is basically.
Rajashnu, we are finished. We have started.
Yes, we have already, and I'm asking you, what do you remember? What we saw in Brajashnu? We spoke about the scientist Oppenheimer. That is how he said that in the Gita, Divisurya Sahasrasya. That reference came in, wherein the light or the Lord's power is equal to 1,000 suns that is there. If 1,000 suns burst together, what will be the amount of light? That is the light of the sun. That is what is said here. That is Brajashnu. And the scientist Oppenheimer also, when he did a lot of nuclear research also, he also came to the same conclusion because he had studied the Gita, so he makes some reference from there. Okay, so now today we start with the next. Brajashnuhu bhojanam bhojya rupataya prakritihi maya bhojanam ityuchyate. Now, bhojanam in our local language means food. That is bhojanam. Now, the Lord has also got a name which is called bhojanam. That is one who actually consumes food in the form of maya. That is nothing but illusion. That is what is the reference here. Now, for this, what is the story? Let's have a look. Now, once it so happened that sage Vishwamitra, he did a lot of tapasya and so on, and it seems that for continuously 12 years or so, Indra did not shower rains at all. So it was drought-like situation, famine everywhere, everything was drying up, no trees, no vegetation, no water, nothing. So just imagine no rains for 12 years together. So entire the world was suffering, and Vishwamitra, the sage, was also fasting. Now obviously there was no water, so no food, so everyone was fasting. But Vishwamitra, due to his yogic powers, it so happened that he could fast for about 12 years. Now remember, all this is again not magic. As we say, how come 12 years a person can fast? Again, the calculation now, today's times, if the lifespan is 100 years, maybe a few days you can fast, maybe a month or so. Beyond that, it depends on one person's this. Now most of us, we don't fall in this category. If we fast one day, that itself. In fact, it becomes difficult to fast even for maybe one time, right? One time also, at that time, even if you don't have tea or coffee, some people we don't feel comfortable. So here it seems that, so Vishwamitra, when we say that he fasted for 12 years altogether, we must note that first of all, he was a sage. So again, though he was a sage, yogic powers and all that, apart from that also, lifespan was 100 years is the lifespan today, then everything, all your capacity or stamina, everything will be according to that. Whereas because after the age of 50 or 60 you turn old, right? Whereas now if a person's lifespan, say for example in the Treta Yuga, Rama lived for about 10,000, 11,000 years. So obviously it is not going to be 50, 60, right? It's not that from 100 till 11,000 the person will be old. It doesn't happen that way. So obviously maybe then everything will increase. Brahmacharya ashrama increases, Grihastha ashrama increases and so on. But still then another question comes here. Why did Rama not do this? Why did he marry early at the age of 12? In fact, he finished all his duties quite fast, right? By the age of 40 or so, he begat children and so on. That is because to show to the world, because in the Kali Yuga, Rama knew that people were to look upon him as a role model, and people in the Kali Yuga are going to be so ignorant that they are going to question that why did Rama do something. If he had done something at the age of 100 or 200, people are going to question. So that is the reason he behaved like we behave today in the Kali Yuga, doing things at the normal time, maybe in the 20s, 30s, 40s and so on. But usually if you see, the point is, as the lifespan is big, the ways of doing upavasa, stamina, everything also increases. So ultimately, Vishwamitra also fasted for about 12 years. But it so happened that after 12 years, he could not control himself. He was feeling very hungry. He wanted to eat something, but there was nothing. There is no water, so obviously, there's going to be nothing. So he goes and he sees a shop where they were selling the meat, meat, meat of a dog meat. Now, Vishwamitra is a great sage, so how can he consume meat? But then now, what happens is when we are hungry, even say for example, even during lunch or dinner time, if you don't have anything, even if someone gives you biscuits, we very happily eat, right? Whereas normally every day during lunch dinner, we don't eat biscuit also. But then when we don't have anything, you get something, and that time we don't think, oh, this is lunchtime, why should I eat biscuit, and so on. So similarly, same thing happened with Vishwamitra. He did not think anything. He wanted to consume the dog meat, it seems. He rushes, he tells the person who was selling that you please give me this meat. Now that person, he said that no, you're a great sage. If I sell meat to you, if I give meat to you, I will incur sin, I will incur papa. You incur sin, papa, by eating meat. Maybe you will have your own powers, this, that, I don't know all that. But if I give you meat, I am going to incur sin, which I don't want at all. Vishwamitra kept pestering him, no, I am hungry, this, that, he keeps telling. The shopkeeper, he refuses. He says, at any cost, I am not going to give you this. Saying so, then Vishwamitra goes away. At night time, that is late evening or so, when the shop was closed. Now you see in today's times also, we find a few shops which will always, like you see the shopkeeper also, maybe he has a house nearby or maybe inside the shop only, something like that. So this person, what he did was he closed the shutter of his shop and he was sleeping inside. At that time, Vishwamitra, he again returns back and he does some of his tricks also in order to eat that meat. Now, through this story, you must not feel that Vishwamitra is such a great sage, why he is doing all kinds of things. It is to show that when hunger and thirst attacks a person, be it a normal human being or a sage or anyone for that matter, a person cannot stop himself, a person cannot control. Luckily, we are all lucky that at least we have food on our plates, water to drink, a roof over our head and so on. But still, there are so many people who suffer, right? When you don't get food at the right time, we ourselves know. But then still, maybe we don't know much about it because maybe food gets delayed. Maybe you might eat food late also, you might get food late, but still we do get, right? But in most of the cases, it doesn't happen that way. We see so many people who don't have food. So therefore, hunger is something which cannot be controlled at all. So the same thing is trying to be told here. So Vishwamitra, what he does was, when the shop is closed, the shopkeeper is sleeping also. At that time, somehow he tries to enter the shop and take the meat away. But the shopkeeper, he gets up, he says, no, at any cost, I'm not going to give you meat. Even if you try to steal or whatever you want to do, I'm not going to give you meat. And then Vishwamitra again, he goes away from there. And seeing all this, it seems that the shopkeeper felt very sorry for Vishwamitra. He said that and he prays to Indra. In fact, he doesn't pray, he shouts. And to Indra and tells, what you have done this, you have not bought rains that even such a great sage like Vishwamitra, because he is not getting food and water anywhere, he has to resort to such things by eating dog meat, asking, and even after telling him no, he is coming repeatedly and so. So why are you making people suffer like this? That this is something which should never be done. You are also going to incur sin, this, that he tells. Listening to this, it seems that Indra's mind changed and Indra felt that really there was a need for rains also. And then he started showering rains, food started growing, water was available and so on. So again, Vishwamitra also went away from there. He got enough water, food and all that. And again, life became normal. Now, this same incident happened later in the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, we have the Tamil Alvar. In Sangam literature, you have the mention of Alvars. Nammalvar. Nammalvar was born, and roughly you have a reference that he lived for about 32 to 35 years. Some references mention 32, most of the references will mention 35. It seems that in all these 35 years, he did not consume any food or water at all, nothing. He was just fasting. Vishwamitra came to know of this, and Vishwamitra, he at that time, he questions. He comes and questions, how come I could not fast for even 12 years, and it ended up that I wanted to eat dog meat. For that I was putting in efforts, but then this Nammalvar, how can he not eat for 35 years altogether? He goes and asks Nammalvar directly, and Nammalvar first he refuses. He says, I don't know, all such things, I don't have an answer for this, why you're not eating, why you're not drinking and so on. But then Vishwamitra keeps pestering. Now Vishwamitra, though he was a great sage, now in the Ramayana we have seen Ayodhya Kandam, how Vishwamitra from a Rajarshi, Maharshi, Brahmarishi, how he has proceeded, each stage he crosses. So great Brahmarishi, but then how come he was, if you see, he was born as a king, and then he turned out to be a sage. So little though he was a very good sage, had good powers and all that, still he had a bit of ego. That was it. Ego. He felt that he was very great, and that's the reason always he had an enmity with Vasishta and so on. So the same thing comes, like he could not see people who were greater than him and so on. So therefore he goes directly to Nammalvar and says that I could not fast. That too in the previous yuga also, in the Dwapara Treta yuga when I was there, at that time I could not fast at all, even for 12 years, that I ended up even asking for meat. Whatever I got, I wanted to eat because I was very hungry. I could not control my hunger. And how come you, for the last so many years, more than 30 years, you say that people say you are around that you have not consumed water, food, nothing? How is this possible? So Nammadvar, initially he refuses. He says no, nothing of this sort. But Vishwamitra does not give up. He wanted to know the answer. At that time Nammadvar says that nobody, I don't, though people say that I have not eaten food, water and so on, I keep eating and drinking. So then Vishwamitra says, what do you eat, what do you drink and so on. That once you don't feel hungry, and people say that you are fasting for all these years. So Nammalvar says that the things which normal people, the common people and sages like you eat, I don't eat that, it seems. So Vishwamitra next asks, what do you eat then? So Nammalvar says, what I eat is only Narayanamritam. That is, whatever I keep praying to the Lord, that only turns into food, that only turns into water and so on. So bhakti that I show towards the Lord, that itself is my bhojanam, that itself is my payam. So that's how the Lord gets his name as bhojanam. Now here you must know one thing, that how come, like this seems to be again like a fairy tale, right? Someone just, you're doing bhakti and you feel you're not eating. Now how we have to interpret this is, sometimes, now say for example we have a lot of work to do, right? So at that time what happens is, maybe we skip lunch, or maybe we skip doing something. At that time we don't feel hungry, right? Maybe you have things to do, so our full focus is on that work. We don't have time to think about other things. So the same thing happens here. Nammalvar was so much engrossed in bhakti on Lord Narayana that he never felt the need for having food, for having water and so on. Automatically he used to feel satisfied with the bhakti that he showed for the Lord. Now there are some references which mention that Vishwamitra does not go to Nammalvar directly and ask this. He goes and asks this to Lord Muruga, that is Lord Kartikeya. Why he went to Lord Muruga and asked is, Lord Muruga is the Lord of Tamil Nadu basically. I mean, in other parts also he is worshipped, but mainly in Tamil Nadu. Lord Muruga is mentioned, so therefore Vishwamitra directly goes and approaches Lord Kartikeya. He asks him, how come this Nammalvar is doing? And Muruga, he answers this question saying that Nammalvar is engrossed in the bhakti of Narayana. For him, chanting his name, singing his glories, listening to his stories, that only is bhojanam, that only is eating, that only is payam, that only is drinking. And with this he is happy, therefore he does not feel the need for having food or water and so on. Bhakti is only something which binds him together. So the Lord only is bhojanam for him. That's how, through this story is how the Lord gets the name of bhojanam. So the nama is Bhojanaya Namaha. When we chant this, we also will be totally engrossed in bhakti. Of course, like Nammalvar, maybe we cannot attain that stage that we do bhakti and I'll forget my hunger, thirst. But at least with full focus or so, we will also be engrossed in bhakti towards the Lord. Okay. Did everyone understand this nama, Bhojanam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. Bhokta. Purusharupena tam bhokte iti bhokta. Ta bhunkte iti bhokta. That is one who actually experiences. Now, Brahmarpanam. Now, this is the reason why the verse that comes in even chapter 4 of the Gita. I think it's chapter 4, yes. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi. This verse that comes, many people chanted before having food. In fact, you should chant it. Even chapter 15, verse number 12, I suppose. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. That is a gastric juice that is there, present inside our stomach. So, or in fact, the entire chapter 15 is chanted before having food. So, why such things are done is so that the food that we consume is also like arpanam. Because people believe that, now why this Brahmarpanam has been mentioned is, this body also is given to us by the Lord. So, what do we do to sustain our body? We have food, we drink water and so on. So, offering food to our body is just equal to offering Nevidyam to the Lord. Just as we offer Nevidyam to the Lord in the form of idols, you go to temples and do. Similarly, when you are consuming food, we feel that we are eating food just to fill our stomachs. But it is not so. It seems that the food that we eat, the body is also blessed. given to us by the Lord. So it is also just as we say, it's a temple of God, right? What exactly? Our body is a temple. Why do we consider body as a temple? Because body also has been blessed to us by the Lord, and in most of our cases we are blessed with a good body. What when I say a good body, it is we are all normal human beings, right? We see so many. First of all, getting a human birth is something which is very rare. Out of 84 lakh versus 84 million birds, this that you get insects, animals, birds, and all this. Finally, you get a human birth, and in that human birth also, unfortunately, we see so many people, they have some or the other handicaps that are there. Can be a physical handicap or maybe some mental problem, whatever it is. With the grace of the Lord, we don't have all this. So therefore, we must always worship this temple, and therefore the food that we eat also has. That's the reason why people always say that you consume sattvic food and so on. Doesn't mean that you don't have to enjoy and eat other kinds of food. Obviously, we all do that, including myself. But then the food that we consume, now our only thing is, by one difference which you have to know is, our body is something which immediately reacts. If you eat something which does not suit, or maybe you eat a lot of junk food or food from outside, our body immediately reacts. That is the only reason. You can say that is the only difference between the Lord that you see in the temple, in your puja area, and that you see in the form of your body. In the temple or in your puja area, or the Lord that we worship in the form of an idol or so, they don't show their reactions, right? We cannot see something in front of our eyes. They will bless us and so on. But this body is considered to be a temple. If you hurt it also, hurt it is, maybe you cause some trouble, or maybe you eat some food which does not suit, it will immediately react and show that no, this is not suiting me, you don't eat this from next time. So bhokta, that's the reason why this word is mentioned, brahmarpanam, meaning the food that we consume, that is also arpanam. Just as you offer nevidyam to the Lord, similarly the food that you consume is as if nevidyam, that you are offering yourself. Yourself is nothing but this body which has been given to us by the Lord. So basically, through now when I'm giving you such explanations, you might feel that this is like being too philosophical in each and everything that we speak. Now this body also does not belong to me, this eyes also does not belong to me, everything is God, 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 then why am I born, right? This question might come. Or so therefore, through why such explanations are given is, we need not get very deep into philosophy, but it is just to show that something which we call as gratitude, or to be grateful to things that are there. So through these explanations, or through whatever deep philosophy, difficult philosophy we have, we just have to remember that we have to feel grateful. Like I gave you this body example that is there. So for this, maybe you don't look at it from a philosophical perspective, that God has blessed you with this body, you have to take care of it. Don't look at it that way. You look at it the other example that I gave you with regards to the handicaps, right? So many people are having so many physical deformities, or even all of us also. Some or the other, you have little pain also we cannot bear, right? Little leg pain, head pain, or even a slight cold also comes, our body cannot have it. So when we are blessed with the best, this is something which we have to always feel thankful to it. We have to feel very grateful. So through all these explanations, or why these shlokas are chanted, or why it is even mentioned as brahmarpanam, or why people even have a few practices of chanting a few shlokas before having food, that is just to be grateful and to show our gratitude, saying that I'm blessed with the best, so I should always take care of this. Tomorrow nothing should happen that I cause harm to my body and ultimately to myself. So now the next nama is Bhokta. Purusha Rupena Tam Bhungte iti Bhokta, says Shankaracharya. Now for this there is a story. In Tirupati, Tirumala hills, now in the Kali Yuga, Lord Venkatesha, Lord Vishnu, he has manifested himself as Srinivasa. But before that is a famous Tirupati temple. Before that also the Lord was very much present there in Tirumala. In the Kali Yuga you have Srinivasa Avatara that takes place. That is in the current form of Balaji which people worship. That is the Lord of Tirupati. But in Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga also the Lord was very much present. Now it used to happen that in Tirumala, in that place, people believed that in a form of a tree, there was a big peepal tree, and in that peepal tree also people believed that Lord Venkatesha resides inside that tree. That is what is the belief. So once there was a big peepal tree. Now peepal tree has got big roots, right? So people used to believe that inside the roots of the peepal tree, that is a trunk is also quite big, the roots are also quite big. So inside this tree you have the Lord who has manifested himself. It's just that we cannot see it from outside. So a child and a father, every day they used to come and they used to worship this tree. Both of them would come together, and along with them they used to bring honey and some flour. Maybe you can consider like what you call. Mm, we make chapatis using what flour? What do you call that? Which flour that is? Wheat flour. Sorry,
Wheat flour.
wheat flour. So wheat flour and or this some kind of flour that we use. It is not rice flour. Wheat flour, or it cannot be maida mostly. Wheat flour, which is there. So they used to bring that along, and along with that honey, and they used to offer it. Now many people, you see, sometimes you have this tradition of making sweets using wheat flour. It is not much common, but still I think in South India also it is relevant. Like a halwa also you make using wheat flour. That has come from this tradition, is what people believe. So this father and child every day, so it was their everyday ritual. They used to come early in the morning, they used to worship the Lord, they used to offer this honey and wheat flour, and they used to go away. Once it so happened that they came, and the person, the father, he forgot to bring honey along. He bought only the flour that is there. So he tells the child that now all the way we have come here, so you do one thing, you also don't come back with me, you wait here with the flour, you wait here, I'll go back, I'll bring honey, and then we'll offer Nevidyam, we'll do puja. They used to go around the tree, they used to do pradakshina, they used to offer the Nevidyam, and then they used to consume the flour and honey together as prasada. So the child said okay, and the person, the father, he goes to bring honey. This child is waiting. Now in those times again there was no transport, this that, so it took a lot of time. And especially if you see, whenever we are waiting for someone, even if you wait for 5 minutes or so, it seems like 5 hours, right? And we keep calling. Nowadays at least you can keep calling them, messaging them, and so on. In those times you don't have this. So after some time the child starts feeling hungry, and but still it does not lose upon its values. What it does is, the wheat flour that is there, it offers that to the Lord as Nevidyam, and then it tries to consume it. Now by this time, while it was just about to eat it, at that time the father returns, and the father gets very angry. He tells, this is to be offered to the Lord, why are you eating it? And he just raises his hand in order to hit the child, just a small hit or so, so that the child remembers that whatever has to be offered to the Lord should not be consumed before offering. Before the child could explain that no, I have already offered, I have already shown as Nevidyam, and then only I am consuming, a voice is heard from somewhere, and the man is also not ready to listen anything. The child, by the time it says the man was about to hit the child, and at that time rightly a divine voice is heard from somewhere saying that do not hit this child. Both the father and son keep looking up and down, and the trunk of the tree, it seems that it bursts open, and Lord Tirumala, Lord Venkatesha, comes in front of them. Now for all these years together they were believing that the Lord is there inside the tree. Finally today the Lord comes out and gives this darshana, and at that time the Lord tells the man that you need not beat your child at all, plus because he has already shown Nevidyam, and secondly you need not even offer me the honey that you have bought. Now this person is shocked. He said, all the way I went to offer you honey, to bring honey, because I forgot, and only because of that all this has happened. Otherwise, like if you have already consumed, I would have never gone. The person says, the Lord says here that logically if you see, the child offered me wheat flour only as Nevidyam, but with the amount of bhakti and love that the child offered, it turned out, his bhakti turned into honey, it seems it turned sweeter, and that's how I got both, that is both the flour as well as the honey. So therefore you need not offer me any more honey, because the child's bhakti is only has turned sweeter and it has turned into honey. And I'm very much happy with both your bhaktis. Both the father and the son, they follow the feet of the Lord, and that's how the Lord goes away from there. So this is the story, which means bhokta. Bhokta meaning when whatever is offered to the Lord, when he consumes. It's every day that we offer Nevidyam, and so on. Like in this case, how the child offered the flour and honey. So how whatever we offer, how the Lord consumes, that's how the Lord gets the name of bhokta. Now this is nothing but I don't know how many of you do, but anyone, you have this Maavalakku tradition in your houses?
We
Yes.
do it.
You do it, right?
Puratasi Masam.
Correct. Puratashi Masam Shanikarma, that is every Saturday you do it. Now what is that? How you make the now Maavalakku is nothing but it is light. For those who don't know, it's a lamp that is made using different flour. I think rice flour, right? Rice flour, and then it is lighted. Now this tradition has come from this story of Maavalakku that is there. Now why do we light that lamp?
They put ghee only.
Ghee only, yes. So in that Maavalakku, that here it is wheat flour, then we use rice flour, using rice flour and ghee. You light the lamp that is there, and it seems why that is now. If you have ever seen that Mavalukku, it will be quite heighted. It's not like the normal lamp, right? So it seems that Mavalukku is equal to the 7 hills of Tirumala, and the lamp that we light on top is Lord Venkatesha himself. So as if the Lord is shining on the hills, just as we have the Tirupati temple which is there on top of the hills. Similarly, the Mavalukku is considered to be the 7 hills, and the lamp that we light, that is Lord himself. So this is how the belief is there. So this story is something which is related to the Puratashi Masam, every Saturday, the Mavalukku tradition that few of you have. So the same thing this father and son also offer. It's only the little difference of offering the wheat flour and honey. We offer it using rice flour, ghee, and so on. So this is Bhoktre, that is whatever you offer. Bhoktre Namaha is a nama here, meaning whatever we offer to the Lord with full devotion, the Lord accepts that, Lord consumes that. So just as in the case of the child also. So it doesn't matter whether now one item is low, okay, I forgot honey today, should I offer only wheat flour? Or in the case of the child, he was innocent, it felt very hungry, so but still it did not give up on its value. Directly it did not start eating. It knew that I should offer it to the Lord. It offered it to the Lord, and only then it was about to consume. So the feeling or the bhavam that we call, that is what matters ultimately. And this is what, just as you have in the Gita also, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Or Sudama Kuchela, he offers dry rice, or you can say beaten rice, which cannot be consumed at all. Now, whoever has consumed poha, that is there, poha, avil, that itself is quite dry by nature, it becomes very difficult to eat it until and unless you eat it hot. And this Sudama, he has traveled so long, and he brings that beaten rice with him, which is very difficult to eat, but still Krishna relishes it. Rukmini also stops him. She tells him, why you are eating this? You are the king of Dwaraka. What will people say when people see you eating this? Krishna tells, what people say, what people do doesn't matter to me. A bhakta offers me, or a person has come, he has offered me something with full devotion, that to my childhood friend, I will accept it readily and eat it. So the same thing is here. Bhoktre Namaha, meaning whatever we offer with full devotion, the Lord accepts that and eats it. Okay. Did everyone understand this nama? Yes?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Okay. Next. Sahishnuhu. Hiranyakshaadin sahate abhibhavati iti Sahishnuhu. Sahishnu is nothing but one who defeats asuras. An example is given Hiranyaksha, it can be anyone. Now for this again, you have a story related to the Sangam literature, that is related to Ramanujacharya. Now you have a disciple, you cannot say a disciple, a relation. You can say a far off relation, like a nephew side or so, of Ramanujacharya. The person was called Vasya Varadalu. Vasya Varadalu. Now this reference you can see in the Ativarada temple in Kanjipuram. These are all local stories that are told. How you have something called the Sthala Puranas. Sthala Puranas are nothing, stories revolving around temples, especially it is prevalent in Tamil, Sangam literature. So this Vasya Varadalu, he was related to Ramanuja, so Ramanujacharya's nephews, some relation. And he went to this Ativarada temple, Varadaraja Perumal temple in Kanjipuram. And there what he does is, he used to visit every day and come. So one fine day, it happened, now he was a great scholar, so every day he used to go to the temple and do the Chaturveda Parayanam, which takes place in most of the temples. So it was a tradition, so he was the one, he knew all the 4 Vedas. Now usually if you see, for chanting all the 4 Vedas, it will be a scholar from each of the Vedas. So Rigvedis, Yajurvedis, Samavedis, Atharvavedis. So usually whichever Veda we belong to, we chant that. But this person, Vasya Varadalu, was a great scholar. He could chant all the 4 Vedas. So he used to only take care of the Chaturveda Parayanam. Every day he used to come to the temple and he used to chant. And one fine day what he seems is, so every day the Nevidyam, everything used to take place. The priest used to do the Nevidyam. But Vasya Varadalu did not notice every day what was happening. But one fine day it so happened that his Parayanam got over a bit early. His chanting got over a little early. So he decided, like he was waiting for the Nevidyam for the priest to bring the Nevidyam. And he saw that the priest was bringing hot boiling milk. Every day the same thing, hot boiling milk used to be offered as Nevidyam to the Lord. Vasya Varadalu, he is shocked. He says, stop. The priest just said, what stop? You don't stop me. In fact, when you bring Nevidyam, we should never stop a person. In fact, in many temples you would have seen, like even going to bring the Nevidyam, like maybe you have a kitchen or so, in big temples you can see, people will actually, when the priest from the inner sanctum, when he goes to the hall or so, or the kitchen area to bring the Nevidyam, people should not stand in between, or you should always allow the person. So even bringing the Nevidyam, going and then bringing it back, that is also a ritual that is done. So we should never stop the person. The priest says, now maybe it can be like some people, they don't know about this, so he stops saying that stop. The priest says, maybe you don't know, but you should not stop. What happened? So he says, no, you should not take this milk. This priest is shocked. He says, why? Every day I am doing this. One fine day you come and tell, don't take. What happened? So Vasyavaradalu says that you look at this milk. Smoke is coming. It is hot and boiling. Will you offer such this hot milk to the Lord? So the priest said, every day we are offering the same thing. Doesn't matter, right? And every day that we believe that the Lord accepts, we offer this, we give this as prasada and so on. And by the time we give prasada, the milk is quite cool. That is, it is cooled down. It's not boiling. So Vasyavaradalu says that, do you offer the same milk? Will you yourself drink this hot boiling milk? When you offer it as prasada, you say that it cools down, right? Or it should rather cool down only, then you offer and give it as prasada. You yourself consume only when it is a bit lukewarm or so. Hot boiling milk nobody consumes. So then how come you are offering to the Lord? His tongue will also burn. The priest starts laughing loudly. He says, what is this? If the Lord, how can the Lord in the form of an idol? First of all, he is not drinking, right? So how will you have this? How can you say it's hot, boiling? His tongue will get burnt and so on. So for that, Vasyavaradalu says that who has made you this priest? When you don't have the bhavam, when you say that no, the Lord is not accepting my Nevidyam, he is an idol only, then why do you even offer him then? Right? There is no need to offer, right? Only when we have the belief that what I am offering, that is now. Mainly, maybe physically we don't see the Lord accepting it, but then we have the belief that Lord accepts whatever we offer. And secondly, another reason why we offer Nevidyam is again a sense of gratitude that okay, today we have food on our plates, let me just offer, be thankful to the Lord, and then I should consume it as prasada. So therefore, whatever we consume, it should be first offered as Nevidyam, and then you accept it as prasada and you eat it. So then Vasyavaradalu says, you are also ignorant people, you are offering hot boiling milk, all this should never be done. And he pulled the jug of milk from his hand, and he now just as when things are very hot, we also ensure that it is cool, right? So he ensures that the milk is cooled, and then only he offers as Nevidyam. Sanjeev, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. That same thing we observe that when we are taking bath with cold water, we give bath to the idols also with cold water. And the moment in the cold season we start using warm water, we use warm water for the idols. See, the how is there that
Correct.
if we feel cold, he also we should feel cold.
Correct. Okay. That is the reason why you see during the Shiva Abhisheka that we do in some Rudra Ekadashini pujas and all, you will see sometimes you have a specific Abhishekam. It is not done much, but sometimes you have even hot water that is offered as Abhisheka. Now it is not very boiling hot water, it should be normal, lukewarm water, little slightly warm water that is also offered to the Lord. Okay. Now in the case of Shiva, much it is not done because Shiva already he lives in cold areas also, and he continuously wants Abhisheka to be done. So in his case, many people don't do that, but still as a tradition, sometimes little bit warm water is also offered as Abhisheka. Okay, so coming back, so Vasyavaradalu what he says is no, and then he cools down the milk and then he offers that. All the people are shocked. The priest also, he feels very insulted that this was a very deep insult, and but then he leaves it, he ignores and moves about, saying that there are people of all kinds, so let me accept and move about. And after the lukewarm milk is offered, everyone was waiting for the Deeparatna and so on. From the inner sanctum, it seems that the Lord, some noise was coming in, and someone, Vasyavaradalu, was just waiting outside the inner sanctum. And it seems that when he was waiting and the priest had gone to give the prasada, distribute the tirtham amongst all people, at that time only Vasyavaradalu was waiting just outside the main sanctum. He was praying to the Lord. At that time the Lord, it seems that he called out mother, mother. Now Amma is a reference that is there in Sangam literature. Mother, Amma, whatever it is. The Lord, it seems that he called out to Vasyavaradalu. Vasyavaradalu is shocked. He says, whom is he calling? At that time the Lord, he says that the Lord to a divine voice, he gets a bhavam that you are like my mother. Just as a mother will never offer hot boiling milk to a child, similarly today all these years I was getting only hot boiling milk, but you had that bhavam, you had that feeling in you. That's the reason, just as a mother would not offer hot boiling milk to her child, saying that the tongue will burn, similarly you also did not offer, so you are also like my mother. And then the Lord further says that in all my different avatars, incarnations, Rama I had Kaushalya, Krishna I had Devaki, Yashoda, and so on. In every avatara I had a mother, but even in Achavatara, that is in the form of this idol form, also today I have got a mother in your form, Vasya Varadalu. And that's how Vasya Varadalu later is known as Naradummal. Naradu Ammal, that is how is the name. Even today, if you go to the Ativaradar temple in Kanjipuram, you have a small vigraha for this Naradu Ammal. Naradu Ammal, some people say Naradammal. That is the same Vasyavaradalu who has got a reference as a mother. And he contributed a lot for writing Sri Bhashyam and so on. Sri Jayanti was just celebrated day before yesterday. That is on Janmashtami day. And that is when Vasyavaradalu he is regarded. He is referred to the Lord as his own mother, and he has contributed a lot further. He contributed to Sri Bhashyam and so on, written by Ramanuja. So this is how is the name here, Sahishnave Namaha. Sahishnave Namaha is the name of the Lord, and the Nama is Sahishnave Namaha, meaning one who is always cool and forgiving. So even though now the hot boiling milk was offered, but still the Lord did not punish the priest also, he forgave. And further, he also considered this Vasya Varadalu to be his own mother. So just as the person he was transformed into this Naradu Ammal, you have a Vigraham. Vasya Varadalu was worshipped as the Lord's mother. Even today you have the Vigraha, it seems, in that temple, wherein people come and they worship this Naradu Ammal here. So Sahishnave Namaha is the Nama, meaning one who is always cool, forgiving, and he accepts whatever is offered to him by his devotees. In fact, he has a lot of respect also for his devotees, that he considered his devotee like his own mother. Okay, Sahishnave Namaha. Next Nama. Jagadadijaha. Now from this Nama, I think it is 146. Jagadadijaha till the next 6 Namas, 151 or 152. 6-7 Namas talk about significance of Vishnu, that is Lord Narayana in the form of Vishnu. Now in the entire Vishnu Sahasranama, 1000 names, few names are significant for a particular avatara. For example, the words Sarvadik Simha Sandata Sandiman Stiraha, all these words, all these names are for Lord Narasimha. Or Parardhif Paramaspashta Tushta Pushta Shubhekshanaha Ramo Viramo Virato. Verse number 45 is 43. That is for Rama. So it talks about Rama Avatar. I'm just giving you 2 examples. It can be still many avatars like this. So like this, from this verse onwards, this Nama onwards, 146 I suppose, Jagadadijaha talks about Vishnu. Or Vishnu, what exactly is the Mahatvam, significance of Vishnu. Just as Dashakam 19 Aranyam Vishnu Mahatvam. Similarly, in the Vishnu Sahasranama also you have Vishnu Mahatvam, or the significance of Vishnu. How among the 3 Mumurtis, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, why Vishnu is kept in the middle, what is his importance, and so on. Okay, so Jagadadijaha Hiranyagarbharupena Jagadada Utpadyate Swayamiti Jagadadijaha. Although the responsibility of creating this world was handed over to Brahma, still the one who takes birth. So it is believed that as per Vishnu Purana and Vaishnavism, Bhagavata Purana and so on, Brahma is born through the navel of Lord Vishnu, and that's how he starts the process of creation. But there are some references which say that Vishnu emerges first, and then Brahma and Shiva both come, and that's how all the 3 gods, they start with their own duties of creation, maintenance and layaha, destruction. So Vishnu is the one who is primarily born. This is what has been specified more in the Vishnu Sahasranama, because it glorifies Vishnu more. So Jagadadijaha, this name. Now for this, the story is from the Krishna Leela stories. Amongst the Ashtamahishis of Lord Krishna, Rukmani, Satyamama, Jambavati and so on, Jambavati was not blessed with a child. So she tells this story. This reference also comes in the Harivamsha Purana written by Vyasa. Now Harivamsha Puranam is a minor Puranam. You also consider it to be a part of Sri Mahabharatam. So Mahabharata, when we say more than 1 lakh verses, including the Harivamsha Puranam, it will be roughly around 1.2 or so, approximately. Some people consider Harivamsha Puranam as a part of Mahabharata, and it is also considered separately as a Upapurana. It's a minor Purana. In that also this story reference comes. So Jambavati, she goes and she tells Krishna that your worship with all your other wives, you have children and so on, only with me children are not there, we are not able to beget children. So Krishna tells, don't worry, we'll ensure that we too have a child of our own. So what happens is, Krishna, he goes to Kailasa and he meditates on Lord Shiva. At that time Lord Shiva is shocked. Now Lord Shiva is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Always he keeps chanting Ramanama. That's the reason why even the significance of chanting Ramanama, why today people chant Ramanama, that is because of the Lord. That is because of Lord Shiva. He is the greatest devotee who keeps chanting Ramanama always. So that is the reason why chanting Ramanama is very auspicious, because Lord Shiva himself is said to be doing that continuously 24 hours of the day. So Lord Shiva is shocked. He says, like, why is Lord Vishnu coming and praying to me? Is there any reason for this? And so on. So he comes in front of Lord Vishnu and asks, Shiva asks, why are you praying to me? Is there any purpose or so? So Krishna tells that you have forgotten. In earlier times, there was a reason why I am praying to you today. So Shiva tells, what incident happened? I don't remember anything. You please tell me. So Shiva at that time tells that. Krishna at that time he repeats. He tells that before, once it so happened that you had got the name of Ashutoshi. I myself had given you this name during the time of creation, when only we three gods were there, Mumurtis were there, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So at that time I had given you this name of Ashutoshi, saying that the one who fulfills the desires of everyone. And at that time you only said that to make this true, that is to make this true in the sense, let this parampara, let this tradition start from you only. So Shiva had told Vishnu, you've given me this name, so this parampara tradition, let it start from you only. You only must start this tradition. So you asked me a desire. So at that time I told you that we'll look at this later. So the same thing I'm doing now. So therefore I'm praying to you so that I can ask you a desire. So one who has fulfilled the desires even of Lord Vishnu, this is the, you can say, the Mahatma, or the you can say lot of respect you will get in this world, and all the devotees also will look upon to you. So Shiva remembers this incident. He says, okay, what you want? And then he says that through my wife, among the Ashtamahishis, I have a queen Jambavati. Through her a son has to be born, and that's how you have the son Samba, who's born to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna and Jambavati. Samba is considered to be a blessing of Lord Shiva. That's how he gets his name. After Shambhu, the name has come as Samba. So that's how Krishna has got a son, Samba. Now through this further, Jagadadijaha. So this is one story meaning. Now how you break it? Jagad Adijaha, one who is present right from Jagat world, Adi ancient, Ajaha, Jagadadijaha. Jaha meaning the creator. So one who is present from ancient times, right from the times of creation or while before creation. So you see this conversation of Ashutoshi and so on took place in the first instance when only the Trimurtis were there. But Vishnu had told something then, and then he made it true in the Krishna Avatara. So for this further Shiva gives an answer that even your name. Now with this the story gets to an end, how Samba was born. A second reference to this Nama is when Shiva and Krishna are having a conversation like this. At that time Shiva tells that in the Harivamsha Purana there is a highlight where Vyasa mentions a Nama for you as Keshava. Now in the Shankara Bhashya the definition is little different for Keshava, but Keshava, K is Ka is Brahma, it seems, and Sham is Vishnu and Va is Shiva. This is how is the reference. So the one who is there in the middle, Keshava, Sha is Vishnu. So one who is there in the middle, that's how you have, you are there in middle, that's how you get this name of Keshava. This is one meaning that has been told, but there can be different interpretations for this. Like there are different, you can say innumerable Keshava meaning. There is a meaning that Keshava, something which is associated with Lord Vishnu, with our hair. So have one having curly hair, good hair or so, that is also Keshava. Next, it is also, There are,
Introduced Asura
correct. The
Keshi.
one who defeated the Asura Keshi, that is another significance. This reference comes in the Padma Purana, where Krishna Keshava had one having beautiful hair Keshava or defeated the demon Keshi. That's how he gets his name as Keshava. So therefore, like this, different definitions are there. So mostly, most common is one who defeats the demon Keshi, and another is one who has got beautiful long curly hair. This is the main reference. But here there is another reference wherein Shiva breaks Keshava, three parts. So what he tries to signify is Vishnu is always there in the middle. That's the reason why when we speak also we always say Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, right? We don't change this order mostly. So one who's there in the middle, just as being in the middle, you're controlling, you're ruling over the entire world. Similarly, Jagadadijaha, you're the one who's ruling over this world right from ancient times, and you will always keep ruling over the world. So the Palashruti is Jagadadijaya Namaha is a nama, and the Palashruti is one will be blessed with good and virtuous children, just as Krishna was worshipped with the son Samba through the grace of Shiva. Similarly, a devotee will be blessed with good children. Okay. Yes. Want to say something?
I just want to, even that in the Vishnu Sahasranama of Palashruti, there is the verse Ishwar that Shiva says, Sri
Correct.
Rama Ram Rame.
Correct.
Rama Rama Rame.
Right.
And there is a saying in Marathi, Aju Baju Kham Madhe Basle Ram. Both
Correct.
sides together, then we have Ram in between.
Right. Okay. Now next, Anagaha. Agham na vidyate asyeti anagaha. This reference comes from the Vedas also, you have reference. Meaning one who has got no sins at all, or one who is not impacted by anything. Now, for this, you don't have a story as such. There is a philosophy from the Mundaka Upanishad. Out of different Upanishads, you have the 10 principal Upanishads, you have an Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. In that, this story comes. Now, it seems that there is a tree, and on that tree there are many fruits. And there are about 2 birds who are consuming those fruits. One bird, it eats everything, but still its weight doesn't increase, it remains thin. The second bird, it keeps on eating the fruits, and ultimately its weight increases, it starts growing fat. Now what exactly is this? So both the birds were like, they had a confusion amongst themselves. I'm eating so much, still I'm not gaining weight. And the other person says, I don't eat much, though I'm eating, but still I don't eat much. Still my weight is increasing. What is this? So this phenomena that is there is somewhat compared to nothing but our own lives, it seems. So the tree that is there is our body. Let's not consider as a body, maybe the world. And the fruits that are there on the tree, they all are karma actions which we are doing, good actions, bad actions, and so on. The 2 birds are nothing but Jivatma and Paramatma. So one is Jivatma. Jivatma is all of us, soul. And Paramatma, we all believe that the Lord is also there within us as a part of our soul, Atma. So we have Jiva as well as Atma. So this is how the comparison is made. So usually if you see in all these Upanishads, Upanishads are considered to be philosophical, but still, why? Yeah. So it is very philosophical, but then through such explanations, usually with the tree, bird, and so on, some difficult principles, or you can, not difficult, maybe some deep philosophies, the meanings are told. So now here what is the meaning is, so through this what we get to know. Now if you see, if you have ever looked at your own heart, the shape of our heart will be in a coiled structure or so. So if you basically close your fist, close our hands together, when we show our fist to someone, that is the shape of our heart, right? To some extent, if you see it on the left side. So the Paramatma is our thumb, it seems, and the Jivatma is these 4 fingers. That's the reason why now this comparison is very beautifully made in very scriptures. How it is, I will let you know. Now the 4 fingers that are there, from the index finger to the little finger, they are all always together, right? You can stick them. They will always stay together, you cannot separate them. Whereas the thumb is also a very much part of a hand. You need the thumb. Without the thumb, we cannot do anything. But still, it is not with the Jivatma. That is, it is not with the 4 fingers. It is quite separate. But without the thumb, those 4 fingers are useless. Whenever you have to lift something, or you have to write something, or whatever actions or you eat something, whatever you have to do, without the thumb, we cannot do anything. So though now basically thumb, you see the structure of the thumb is also quite weird, right? All our other fingers, they are quite straight. Everyone feel like they are in a very good shape, straight and so on. Whereas the thumb structure is quite, usually if you see, you look at each one of your own thumb, or maybe if you compare thumbs of people, if the structure of the thumb is quite weird. Some people will have a very fat thumb, some people will have a thin thumb. So the structure of the thumb also varies. Whereas with regards to fingers, it doesn't happen so, right? Usually everyone has, like from the index till little finger, the proportion, everything is same. Why this is so? This comparison is made like our Jivatma and Paramatma. Jivatma are those four fingers, Paramatma is like the thumb. Just as without the thumb, those four fingers are useless, similarly, without the presence of Paramatma, Jivatma is useless. So, through this, now what is all this Jivatma, Paramatma? Paramatma is nothing but something divine or some good things or the Lord Himself, positivity. This is all a part of Paramatma. If the thumb is not there, life is, all other four fingers are useless. Similarly, if the Paramatma is not there, Jivatma is useless. That's the reason why when the Paramatma, soul goes away, Jivatma falls down dead. Breath goes away, there is no use of this body. Jiva has gone away. So coming back to the story, like this there are different comparisons that are made. To a fist also, fist is considered to be the union of Jivatma and Paramatma because all the five fingers are brought together. So here coming back to this story, Anagaha. So now why the birds? Now you remember I told you birds, one was feeling very thin, other was feeling fat. The thin bird is Paramatma and the fat bird is Jivatma. That is, Paramatma, though the Lord is also, just as He took different avatars, He is also very much present. Maybe in our own houses, He might be around us, we cannot see Him. He might be in our temples, He might be in our puja rooms, He might be in wherever, whatever worship you do. But still, even after consuming, He is also a part of our life. He is also experiencing karma. Karma doesn't mean actions like us, but He is also very much present wherever we live, whatever we do. We do feel the presence of God, we say, right? So He is very much there, but He is not affected by it. That's the reason why even after consuming the fruits, just as a bird does not gain weight, similarly the Paramatma, though He is very much present everywhere, still His weight does not increase because He does not have an impact. Whereas the second bird who consumed fruits, he started gaining weight, is Jivatma like all of us. Wherein, because of our karma, we have to keep suffering. You do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. We have an impact. We can see the impact of everything. So maybe if I speak for 1 hour or so, my throat starts paining, right? So I can see an impact. Whereas you have people, or the Lord Himself, He speaks for hours together. He told Vyasa, He told this, all the different Puranas, the different Vedas and so on. The Lord never complains of throat pain. I'm just giving you an example. It can be anything. So, the Jivatma is affected by things that had happen around him. That's the reason why the bird started getting fat, because had got an impact. Whereas the Paramatma is not affected by anything around. That's the reason even after consuming the fruits, the bird did not gain weight. Similarly, the Paramatma is not affected by Maya. Best reference you have in all our scriptures. Krishna Avatara, you take the example. Krishna was surrounded by 5 lakh gopikas. Still we cannot term, or more than 16,000 wives. Still we should not term that he was a person who roamed around with girls, right? Because he had very much control over his mind. There was a purpose why all things were being done. So one who is not influenced, or one who is not dented by Maya at all, and how he gave the Gita Upadesha and so on. So this is the significance of Paramatma. So Anagaha, meaning one who has not got any kinds of flaws. He'll very much be present. It doesn't mean that he lives altogether in a different universe or so. All the gods have taken an incarnation, different forms, be it in the form of an animal, human being and so on. All the gods have undergone so many kashtas. In fact, when the famous conversation that takes place between Karna and Krishna, I think I had told you once, I don't remember. Karna, towards the end, when Kunti, she comes and tells, that too, when did she come? When she wanted to save the life of her son Arjuna, she comes and tells Arjuna, no, please. She comes and tells Karna, you are only the eldest of Pandavas, all the Pancha Pandavas are your own brothers and so on. Karna feels very bad. He says that I will not kill all the 5 Pandavas except one, that is Arjuna. Then later he has a conversation. That's when Indra also comes stealthily. He takes away his Kavacha Kundala, because he knew that as long as Karna has his Kavacha Kundala, nobody can win over him. Karna was known to be a great Danavira, Danashura. Whatever was being asked, he is to give away. So now he knew that when my Kavacha Kundala are gone, my defeat is sure. Later he has a conversation with Krishna. He tells that, what is this? Whatever has happened to me is life, everything is injustice. I was separated from my mother. I was given away to a charioteer. Everyone started insulting me as Sutaputra, Sutaputra. The person who supported me at that time was only Duryodhana. So is it wrong on my part to be his friend? Is it wrong on my part to be his supporter? Krishna very nicely gives him an answer. He says that I am said to be the Lord of the three worlds, still I was born in a jail. I was separated from my parents right from the time I was born on the same night immediately. I was taken away to some other parents who were called to be my foster parents. There also I was separated. From Gokula I went to Vrindavana, Vrindavana I went to Mathura, and never later went there to see Nandagopa and Yashoda. I was separated from there. Right, even from the time before I was born, dangers were being there. All my other brothers were being killed because of me. Kamsa had an eye over me even before I was born. Right from the time I was born, he used to continuously send Rakshasas and so on. And now also, even though the Mahabharata war, I'm not fighting on the part of someone, I'm being very, very neutral. So therefore, like this, if you want to see, so the point is, like this, there are many examples which Krishna gives. Krishna further tells that though I was born and the Lord of the three worlds, I was also born as a Yadava. So it doesn't make any difference to whether you're given away to a charioteer or you're born as a prince or so, it doesn't matter. I'm also born as a Yadava only, belonging to the Vaishya community. Rama was born to a Kshatriya. So nobody, it's nothing like Brahmins, Vaishya, Shudras, nothing of that sort. I'm also born as a Vaishya. I was not given education from the time I was born. Only later, after killing Kamsa, I went to Gurukula at the age of roughly 16 or so, into Sandipani's Gurukula. So I did not have any complaints or so. So like this, he gives many examples, and further he tells that in spite of having all this, everyone has got their own set of problems. If you want to complain, the list just keeps going on and on. Whatever you have doesn't mean that you go on the wrong path. Duryodhana did support you, you should have respect for him. But then when your friend, if you're so much dear to him, you know what he was doing was wrong. You talk so much about dharma. Today you're questioning all this. Why didn't you question this when you saw that Draupadi was being insulted, or when you saw that all the ill things that were being done with Pandavas, at that time you did not open your mouth. Now when your life is in danger, you are asking about dharma and adharma. This is very much wrong. So the concluding point here, what Krishna tries to tell is, when we talk about dharma, or whoever came and support you, even though the person is evil, doesn't mean that you end up supporting them. Someone has helped you, someone has supported you, no doubt you should have respect. But if that person is going on the wrong path, and you, in spite of knowing that the person is going on the wrong path, if you keep supporting him, then that is your mistake, that is your problem. Today you should not come and question about dharma and adharma when you did not do that 10 years before, or whatever years before. So this is the explanation which Krishna gives. So the point here is anagaha, meaning the Lord does not have any flaws in him. He is also very much, just as I gave you the example of Krishna, even in his Krishna avatara, and that too, in the case of the Lord, he knows what is going to happen with him. Okay, he knows that, okay, something is going to happen, Raman is going to come and attack me, I have to face this. In our lives, luckily, we don't know what is going to happen, therefore we are peaceful. So in spite of facing all this, still one who is not impacted, one who is not dented by Maya, that is Anaghaha. So Anaghaya Namaha is the Nama, and the Palashruti is, all our sins also will go away, we'll also not get into the wrong path, and so on. Okay. So should we look at one more Nama? Is it okay?
Okay, Vishnu.
Okay,
Ma.
Okay. Vijayaha. Just 5 minutes, we'll stop then. Vijayate Jnana Vairagaishwaryadi Birgunaihi Vishwamiti Vijayaha. Now, Vijayaha is another name for Arjuna. One who conquers the universe, that is basically one who attains victory over knowledge, detachment, powers, everything, that is Vijayaha. Now for this there is a story from the Mahabharata reference. Once it so happened that all the Pancha Pandavas, when they were there in the forest along with their mother Kunti, they went to seek the blessings of sage Bhrigu. So at that time, all the Pancha Pandavas, he blesses, or the Bhrigu blesses all of them with the Ashirvadam of Ayushman Bhava, Dirghayusham Prapnotu, Ayushman Bhava, and so on. Only for Arjuna, he says that amongst 60, you will be 27. This is what he tells. One statement he makes, amongst 60, you will be 27. None of the Pandavas understood this. Kunti also did not understand. Arjuna himself did not understand this Ashirvada. He leaves, but they were all small young boys. They say, forget, something the sage will come and tell, forget, let's go. Our mother told us to seek the blessings, we have done that, let's proceed. What Kunti does is, next she meets Vyasa. Now Vyasa is known for Vyasa Rahasyam, just as Mahabharata has a few verses very very difficult. So similarly, Kunti feels that Vyasa will know when the most difficult of blessings. So she goes and asks that my children had gone to seek blessings. So at that time, the sage Brigu blessed my son Arjuna, saying that among 60 you will be 27. What is this? For this, Vyasa gives an explanation that now 60 is nothing but the different samvatsaras. Anyone knows the name of this samvatsara? Which is this samvatsara? Name of this samvatsara? Shobhakrit. Shobhakrit. Shobhakrit Nama Samvatsare. You chant in your sankalpas, right? So, like this, there are 60 samvatsaras that are there. And amongst that, 27th samvatsara is called Vijaya. So, that is what is the Ashirvadam that or the blessing which Vyasa gave, saying that amongst the 60 samvatsaras, the 27th samvatsara will be known after you, O Arjuna. So, that is people will remember you for your good deeds and so on that you do. So, this was the blessing here. Now, with this, the story of Arjuna gets over. So that's the reason why in whatever, wherever he went and he became a great archer, he attained victory everywhere because of this name Vijayaha. And even today we remember Arjuna to be a great warrior, great archer. Now the same thing later in another reference. Now how come the Lord's devotees Bhishma, Vidura, Arjuna, mainly for Arjuna you have these names of Vijayaha. For the Lord also there is a name Vijayaha. Why so? Now again it's the same Mahabharata reference. Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya, he was blessed with Divya Drishti, so he could see what was happening in the Kurukshetra war, and he used to give the exact report, everything to Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra asks, what is happening to my sons? How are they doing in the war? So at that time now, obviously all of them were facing defeat only. The Kauravas were facing defeat, but then, and they were going on the ill path and so on. Sanjaya knew this, but then Dhritarashtra is a king, so therefore he has to be very very careful when you speak. So whenever we speak, we have to be very careful. We have to always understand how the opposite person will like it. For this now, I just remember, I don't know how many of you are aware of this, a famous English author who is there, George Bernard Shaw. He tells that once it so happened that he went to a audience or so while he was speaking, he was giving a speech. He says that amongst the audience here, half are fools, he said. Because whatever I am going to speak, half of them are only going to understand, remaining half are fools. Audience did not like it at all, it seems. How come he calls us all fools? And it seems that the entire hall got empty. So next time what he did was, he went to another place where he had to give a speech, and at that time he said that amongst the audience sitting today, half of them are intelligent. When this statement was made, everyone felt very happy. It actually doesn't make any difference. The meaning is the same. In the first instance, he said half are fools. People did not like it. They considered that everyone is a fool and the entire hall became empty. But in the second instance, when he said amongst my audience half are intelligent, people considered everyone, oh, he's calling me only intelligent, and they all sat very happily. So the point is, the way we speak is very very important. So Sanjay also had this power, that is, you have to talk about the truth, but how you put it in front of people. Like say for example, now when we have the chanting class or so, even if someone makes mistakes, I'm not telling about myself, but then I don't tell her, you don't know anything, from tomorrow you don't come to the class. I don't tell, right? Say what you have to practice well, then you come. You're chanting well, but still you practice, right? So if I tell you in this way, some people like it, but still some people don't like it. I'll tell you out of my own personal experience. They later send a message, madam, why did you tell like this? We felt very bad. I had practiced 10 times, but still you told. And that too some people do, but some of you take it as a feedback, right? So the way we put it is very very important. Including myself, I might also feel bad if we tell someone directly. So same thing now, Sanjaya was in you can say he was in a delusion, saying that how come I tell Dhritarashtra that what his sons are doing is just madness. So what he tells is, he quotes a verse from the Gita. Yatra yogeshwarak prishno yatra partho dhanurdaraha tatra shir vijayo bhutir dhruvanitir gatir mama. He makes a generalized statement saying that wherever Krishna is there, whichever party he belongs to, that party is going to be the winning party. So when Dhritarashtra asks, how are my sons doing, will they attain victory? This is only shloka, this is only statement that Sanjaya uttered, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. So ultimately, indirectly it meant that Krishna was there in the party of Pandavas, so obviously they are only going to win. So the way he put it was quite different. Directly it did not highlight about the Kauravas, Duryodhana and so on. So Dhritarashtra did not feel hurt. But the same message was conveyed. He did not speak lies or so. In an indirect manner, the same message was conveyed that the victory is obviously going to be of the Pandavas because Yogeshwaro Krishna is there in the party of Pandavas. So this is how it means that wherever the Lord is there, His grace is there, there surely Vijayaha, victory will be attained. So Vijayaya Namaha is the Nama here, and the Phalashruti is to attain victory, to be successful in whatever we do. Okay, did everyone understand this Nama? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so today we'll stop here. ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So last time we had seen Dharmadhyakshaha, wherein we saw how Rama, he killed Vali. Now next is Kritakritaha. This Nama, Kritakritaha. Kritascha karya rupena, akritascha karana rupena iti Kritakritaha. The one who is the Krita, meaning the one who does, and one who has not done. So basically the effect and the cause, both, everything is the Lord only. So there is a story behind this. Once there was a person, his name was Govinda Swami. He was born as a person, he was a normal person, a devotee like us, and only one thing was that he could develop attachment very easily towards things, just as all of us also. We have a lot of desires, attachments, but you see some people, like immediately when they look at something they feel, no, I want this. So now all of us, we have desires, but it's not that looking at everything we feel that we want this, right? If there are 10 things, maybe 1 or 2 things you like, remaining you just look and you move about. Then this person, whatever he saw new, whatever he came across, he wanted that. Immediately he used to develop attachment. So one fine day he wished that in my next birth I should be born as a great king. So wherever he was living there, he saw one day he saw a king coming, and he saw how the king had a lot of chariots, soldiers, elephants, horses. He had a lot of respect, honor. So this person also felt, in my next birth I too want to become a king so that I can enjoy all these pleasures. So this was just a desire in his mind. So with this, that desire got over. Then one fine day he meets a sage, a learned person, a learned scholar, and in his nearby village only, he saw now how during the Dasara times or so on, we have those Ram Leela plays, right? Especially in North India, if you go, you can see that. So, or how the entire Ramayana is depicted there, the killing of Ravana and so on. So similarly in his village also a scholar came in, and that's how in his village they saw Rasa Leela. That is where Krishna dances with about 5 lakh gopis. 5 lakh gopikas. So that was shown here, that was portrayed here, and this person went there, Govinda Swami, and he witnessed this. For the first time he was seeing Rasa Leela and he was amazed, saying that how this one person Krishna is dancing about with 5 lakh gopikas. Now it is not that one male is dancing with 5 lakh females also. You should not look at this with this approach. It is as if the explanation that the scholar gives here is one Paramatma dancing with 5 lakh Jivatmas. Just as that one Paramatma is ruling over all us Jivatmas, Paramatma is considered to be Pullingam, and all Jivatma, all of us, irrespective of our outside gender, that is there, male or female, the Jivatma inside is always Trilingam. So Paramatma, Jivatma, that is the reason to show the bond and the unity between Paramatma and Jivatma, you had the concept of Rasa Leela coming in. So all this explanation Govinda Swami did not know, the scholar explained to him, so that Govinda Swami does not think that this one male is dancing with 5 lakh females. So he gives a very good explanation, and Govinda Swami also, he enjoys the Rasa Leela, and he feels that now immediately looking at this as true to his nature, he develops a desire, I want to witness this Rasa Leela in reality. So what he does is, he prays to the Lord. He was a very genuine devotee. If you see, like immediately some desire comes to his mind, immediately he used to pray to the Lord, and the Lord felt that, oh, he is asking a good desire. Lord Vishnu feels so, and it seems that he took Govinda Swami to Vrindavana to witness, to show him the Rasa Leela. And it is believed that even today, if you go to Vrindavana in the forest at night time, you can actually see some noise coming from the trees, and they say that there is a particular place where Rasa Leela still takes place and so on. Maybe all these are folklores or so, like most of us we have not witnessed, but yes, it is said so. So Lord Vishnu himself comes there. He takes Govinda Swami along with him, and he shows him the Rasa Leela, and he also shows the bond that is there between Jivatma and Paramatma. So, and with this Govinda Swami, he sees this, he returns back. Now he is very happy. So now the Lord next asks him that you had one more desire, right, previously. So Govinda Swami, he had actually forgotten his initial desire of becoming a king in the next world. Initially he had forgotten about that. But then the Lord remembered. So this again shows the Mahima of the Lord. Even if the devotee forgets what he asks, the Lord always remembers. Maybe he might not bless the devotee immediately with whatever he asks, but later, even though it might take some time, still the desire is surely fulfilled if it is genuine and if the person is deserving. So then the Lord says that you are a true bhakta, you have also witnessed my Rasa Leela, you have seen the union between Jivatma and Paramatma. Now I will surely fulfill your first desire of becoming a king in the next world, and ultimately Govinda Swami was born as a king in the next world. So through this Nama, or through this story, what we can see is, if you are a genuine devotee, if you pray, if you have true bhakti, the Lord surely fulfills our desires. Maybe it might not be immediately, it might take some time, but then surely the desires, if genuine, are fulfilled. So one, Krita Akrita, one who is a cause as well as an effect, one who, now here you can, now how come it is related to cause and effect? If you think so, basically now the thought that comes to Govinda Swami's mind that I want to see this Rasa Leela, this thought also the God only has born in his mind, and ultimately the effect, that is the actual showing of Rasa Leela, that also is done by the Lord. Basically, if you see it, now this is applicable in all human beings. Even the thought that comes to our mind, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, this thought also comes due to the grace of the Lord only, right? Like maybe in the case of all of us listening to the stories of Vishnu Sahasranama, how much ever self-interest we have, still that thought comes in. That's the reason why every week we come, every week I join in, I feel like telling you, all of you feel like listening, and so on. So this thought also, the Lord has blessed us with this, and ultimately He ensures a way. Now only the thought is not enough, only the cause is not enough, effect also can be seen. That is actually we can experience the stories that are being told. You have a means of experiencing. So the same thing is seen here, one who is a cause and the effect of both. So the desires that came into the mind of Govinda Swami were also brought about by the Lord, and ultimately he himself fulfilling that desire, that also was done by the Lord. So this is Krita Kritaha. So Krita Kritaya Namaha is the Nama here, and the Palashruti is, just as the Lord fulfilled the desires of Govinda Swami, similarly if we are a genuine true devotee, if we have bhakti, he will also surely fulfill all our desires. Krita Kritaye Namaha is the Nama. Okay, did everyone understand? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. Chaturatma. Sargadishu prithak vibhutayah chatasraha atmanaha yasya saha chaturatma. Meaning, one who has 4 different forms right from creation. Now what is the meaning of this? Now from Vishnu Puranam you have some reference also that is given. Here for this there are 4 forms of the Lord that are told. One is the Lord himself, and it seems that he takes 4 different forms. What are that? One, the Purna Avatara is called as Vasudeva, that is none but Krishna himself, a full, complete form. And 4 other forms, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama, Sankarshana. These are 4 forms, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama, Sankarshana. These 4 are, you can consider an Amsha of the Lord is there in each. So, these are the different manifestations of the Lord which Lord Vishnu himself has taken. And this we can see in a particular place. Now, in few temples we can see, mainly in the Nachiyar temple of Kumbakonam, Tamil Nadu, you can see this witness wherein the Lord is there in the form of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama and Sankarshana. So the story that goes here is, once it happens that Garuda, the Vahanam of the Lord, he was feeling very sad one day. And the Lord comes and asks him, what happened, why are you so sad today, is everything fine? So Garuda initially he did not say, and then Lord Vishnu kept on asking him. At that time finally Garuda he replies that, he says that in your Tirumala Tirupati temple you have hills there, you have Sheshadri a hill and also Garudadri. There is a hill after Sheshanaga Adishesha as well as after me Garuda. But still everyone knows the Sheshadri hills more than Garudadri. Then You are also called by a name of Sheshadri, another name Sheshadrinatha. Nobody calls you Garudadrinatha. So more than Garuda, always Shesha is given high preference. This is my one point. Second is, even during the Brahmotsavam that takes place, Sheshavahanam comes twice. If you notice very carefully, Sheshavahanam, that is the Lord, is carried on Adi Shesha twice, whereas Garuda Vahanam is only once. And he says, apart from Shesha, even Hanuman also a great devotee of you. When you are taken an incarnation as Rama, in every temple that you go, you have huge statues of Hanuman. He is also worshipped separately. Though he is a Bhakta, still he is also given the status of a god, and so on. So all this Garuda, you can say, he keeps on grumbling. And but Garuda feels that for me, you see, always I am given a very small sannidhi, I am just right in front of you. Sometimes people don't even notice me, they just move about. So I feel very bad. I feel like, all other devotees are given good importance by you, whereas I am like almost ignored. So Garuda feels very bad. Garuda at that time, Vishnu says, don't worry, you do one thing, I'll give you one work today. Now at that time Mahalakshmi, now all this conversation takes place in Vaikuntha. At that time Mahalakshmi was not there in Vaikuntha, she had gone out somewhere. Vishnu did not know where she was. So he calls Garuda, he says, you go and find out where the goddess has gone. So this is a very huge responsibility I am giving you, you go and find out. Garuda goes, and finally Garuda, he finds her in this Nachya temple of Kumbakonam, Tamil Nadu. There she was born as Medhavi. Medhavi is a person, and she was born as Manjuvalli. Some people call it as Vanjuvalli. The name is Manjuvalli. Goddess Mahalakshmi had taken an avatara there. She was born as a goddess there. And Manjuvalli, when she was born, Garuda finds her, and ultimately he comes back and tells Vishnu the goddess has taken an incarnation there. She is present in the Nachya temple. At that time, the Lord also goes there in the form of Vasudeva, that is a full complete form, along with his 4 divine manifestations, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama and Sankarshana. And once he goes there, so he carries his 4 forms also. And further, in this temple alone, the Lord says that, tells Garuda that here you will have a separate sannidhi for you. That's the reason why those who have gone to this Nachya temple, you might know that for Garuda you have a separate. Anyone has gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Near to Bharat. Yes.
So, have you seen the statue of Garuda?
Yes. That we visited.
Okay. So there, only in this temple, if you see, for Garuda you have a big statue. Unlike other temples wherein usually a very small sannidhi is kept opposite, or you can say diagonally opposite the main sannidhi of Lord Vishnu. So here you have a big Garuda statue, which the Lord himself had told that only in this temple you will have this. Further, in this temple you have 2 Garuda Seva that takes place. Like you have the Seva that is done for Adishesha, twice it is done. Similarly, here also in the months of Panguni and in the months of Margari, that is in roughly during March, April and December, January. At that time, 2 Garuda Sevas are done here. Further, Garuda here is worshipped separately, just as you have a statue for Hanuman also. Similarly, Garuda also is worshipped separately here, like other gods. He is not given a small place. At the same time, like Adishesha, his seva is also done twice here. So the Lord blesses him, and this is how Garuda gets the grace of the Lord.
Garuda, ma'am. Then.
Kal Garuda, correct. Kal Garuda. Correct. Now, this is one story that is there with this Nama. Now, one more Nama that comes with this, the name Chaturatma. Chatu Atma, that is 4 different forms. Now, why was the need? Okay, the Lord comes there. It talks about the significance of this Nachya temple. It talks about the bhakti of Garuda. But then, why the Lord had to come in 4 different forms apart from the main form, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, and the other 3 forms, was different form, just so that the Lord wanted to bless the world with different forms that are there, not only with one form, that is Vasudeva. The Lord has taken many other avatars also. Krishna avatara is just one Purna avatara, so that is Vasudeva. Apart from that, there are many other avatars also. That's how, starting from Matsya till Kalki, which is about to take place, also other avatars like Kapila avatara, Hamsa avatara, and so on. So, to signify that and to show that there are different forms that are there and the Lord can be present in any form, to signify that, in this temple he comes with 4 other forms also apart from the main Purna Avatara form. So that is the significance of this Nama also. Chaturatmane Namaha. In this context there are only 4. So that's the reason it is Chatuhu. The Lord can have different forms. So we also, when we, that's the reason why we worship in different forms, right? We don't worship only in one form. We don't always worship Krishna only in one way, like maybe Krishna in the even one Lord also, if you see, can be worshipped in different forms. Now the Lord Krishna also, if you see, it can be one Vishwarupa Darshana, it can be a baby Krishna, it can be holding a flute, or it can be eating butter, or it can be with Radha Rani, it can be a dancing Krishna. One Lord only can take different forms, or there are different gods altogether, Shiva, Vishnu, Ganesha, goddess, and so on. So therefore, to signify that, so one meaning is the devotion of Garuda, how the Nachya temple is there, that is one part. Second part, or the second meaning, how we can interpret this nama, is to show the world that why different forms are needed. When people argue there is only one God, then why does your culture or why does your dharma talk about so many different forms, so many different gods also? It is so confusing. Under the name of bhakti, you do anything. People keep questioning, right? Now this is an answer that you get, wherein there are different forms that are there. Whichever form you like, you worship. Someone might say, no, I want to worship Krishna maybe in a Vishwarupa Darshana form. Some might say, I want to worship Krishna as my own child, as a small baby. Some might say, no, I'll worship him with Radha, that is a picture of Radha Krishna. Some might say, I will worship with in the form of Vishnu, with Sri Devi and Bhudevi. Some might say, I want to worship Vishnu in a standing form, that is in the Chaturbahu form, Kamalam, Shankar, Chakra, Gada, that form. So it can be anything of one choice. Our culture and dharma is very, very open. The Lord himself tries to signify that here by this nama, Chaturatmane Namaha, saying my forms are different. Whichever form you like, whichever form you want, you worship. That's the reason in Nachya temple, if you go and see, those who have gone, you will know that apart from the main Vasudeva form, you also have the idols of these four, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama and Sankarshana. Those who have gone there, did you see these four forms there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So therefore you see, so whatever has been interpreted by Parashara Bhatta in his commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama is quite true, right? That's the reason even today, when you go to the temple, you can actually see and witness whatever has been mentioned. So the Phalashruti of this nama, Chaturatmane Namaha, meaning we will also blessed by seeing the different forms of the Lord. Forms can be many, but the bhakti that is there remains the same. Okay, next nama, Chaturvyuhaha. Vyuhyat मानं चतुर्धा वै वासुदेवादि मूर्तिभिः सृष्ट्यादीन् प्रकरोत्येष विश्रुतात्मा जनार्दनः. Meaning, now here you can consider this Chaturvyuhaha as a continuation of the previous nama Chaturatma. So basically one who has set himself, or one who organizes, divides himself in four forms, and ultimately he manages all the creation, maintenance and so on of the entire world. So here now, Chaturvyuhaha, if you see, it is just as, now Vyuham is, you can say, like a trap. Now more than a trap, you can say a method that is there. So here for this nama, you don't have a separate story as such. It's just to signify, like I already told you in the previous nama, different forms why the Lord takes and why people develop so much of confusion. Why they say why so many forms are needed, why so many temples are needed. If the Lord is only one, that's the reason why you see only in our culture, only in our dharma, we have a lot of variety, and that is the reason why Hinduism does not fit in the definition of religion. Though now in so many forms, though now all of us at the end of the day, someone asks our religion, you fill those forms also, we still write there Hindu only. Some people very smartly write there Indian. Because Hinduism is something which does not fit in the definition of the religion that has been set about by them. Now, religion is one book, one God, that is there. One religious book, one divine entity. This is a category of religion. Hinduism does not fit into that, because we cannot say that there is only one God. We cannot say there is only one book. Now, if there are now 20 people here, all 20 of us might worship 20 different gods, right? And all at the same time, you ask for religious books, it can be anything. It can be the Gita, it can be the Ramayana, it can be the Mahabharata, it can be the Puranas. Some might say, I don't want any book, I just listen to the stories, I just listen to the songs of the Lord, I just chant the Nama, for me that is fine. So like this, there can be different, there is a lot of variety that is there. Whereas religion, that definition is like, say for example, all other religions if you consider, can be Christianity for that matter, you have one Lord, one book, Jesus, Bible. Islam you take, you have Quran, you have Allah. Sikhism is again like that. So like this, now Sikhism, of course you have different scholars who are there till Guru Gobind Singh. and then you have their religious book. But then usually if you see, only Hinduism is some, you can say, a practice. Let us not call it a religion, it's a way of life wherein we don't fit in the definition of religion. Now again, not to speak of one religion more or low, everyone has their own beliefs, but then why so many forms are there? So that's the reason why Hinduism, though we say that I'm a Hindu, mainly it was given because we lived on the other side of the Indus river, that is the Sindhu river. Sindhus were, now if you see, you have the partition, right? Pakistan, Afghanistan, you have the Indus river flowing there. People who live on the other side, that is on this side where we have the borders, Pakistan, we live on the other side of the Sindhu river, Indus river. That's how Sindhavasi, if you see in our early references, Indians are called as Sindhavasi Jana, those who live on the banks of the Sindhu river. But ultimately it is said that some people could not pronounce the word as Sindhu. When you had some foreign people coming in, that's how it turned out to be Hindu. And then all the practices that we follow, that turned out to be Hinduism. This is what people say. How far this is true, how far this is false, we don't know. But then ultimately, very logically, as I told you, the definition of a religion, it does not fit. Our practices does not fit into this. That's the reason why some people, instead of Hinduism, we call it as Sanatana Dharma. So that dharma, that practice which is eternal. 5,000 years back, we say, someone asks how old is your culture or how old is your practice. The only answer is people believe it is almost 5,000 years old. Until date, we are trying to maintain that. So again, here when we have different forms, now who had signified this is Swami Dayananda Saraswati. When people asked him what is Hinduism, you are propagating. Now Swami Dayananda Saraswati is an important historical figure. When he asked that, he said, when you come to India, when you come to Bharata Desha, I cannot tell you that this is my book also, you have to come to our library, welcome to our library. That's the reason when he showed so many books to the people who questioned him, so whichever book you want, you pick up. Ultimately, all of them speak about the same, but in different ways. Like say for example, the Vedas, they will tell you things, in a very philosophical way. If you can understand it, well and good, you take it. Second is Itihasas, little level, false, things have been made easy. The same principles that have been told in the Vedas, same has been explained in Itihasas, but in the story format. Story of Rama and Ramayana, Mahabharata, story of Rama and Krishna. But then everything could not be covered there. Still you need some stories, not only stories, different practices and aspects that you see around, maybe geography, history and so on. For that, the third concept had to come in of the Puranas. So that's how you see. That's the reason now most of us, I hope all of you are familiar with the Itihasas, Puranas, Vedas. You yourself could have seen that how the level of difficulty decreases. Right now, if I tell you also what is Brahma, what is Brahman, what is Atman, this, that, instead of telling the definition, when things are told with the help of an example or in the story format, it becomes easy. That's the reason why all of us also, whenever you tell something to a child, we tell them stories, right? Why? Instead of telling the child, you must always speak the truth. Child says okay and he will ignore. Whereas you tell a story when a person tells the lies and how he had to suffer, how he always spoke the truth, how another person speaks the truth, and so on, the child always understands. The child always remembers the story. Therefore, things when they are told with the help of an example or in a story format, it becomes easy to understand. So that is a reason why the Lord also, so why I am giving you all this explanation is, why the Lord takes different forms is to satisfy all the devotees who are there. The Lord says, you do bhakti in any form, I am ready to manifest in any form. But you see, devotees like us, we are so ignorant. The Lord is present in front of us, we don't want to see that. That is what is happening. That's the reason why, that is one more reason why we celebrate so many festivals. You go to any other place, now every country is known for its festivals and celebrations, that is one part. But still in Bharata Desha, if you see, almost now in 1 week or so, you have some festival, right? It might not be a major festival, but then maybe it will be an Ekadashi, it will be a Pradosha, it will be a Dwadashi. Some people also celebrate Purnami, some people celebrate Amavasya, some people celebrate even Rahu Kala, especially Rahu Kala on Tuesdays or so. Very, very auspicious for goddess Durga. They will light a lamp, they will chant prayers and so on. So you see, almost every day is a festival. Then you have specific nakshatras also that are associated. For example, you have the Kritika nakshatra for Lord Indra, for Lord Muruga. Then you have Anusha nakshatra for Kanchi Mahapariva. Like this, even with nakshatras also we have some celebration. It might not be a very major celebration. So you see, almost every day you have some on the other celebration that takes place. Celebration of some festival apart from the major festivals coming in. Now here if we keep in question saying that why so much of confusion or so on. Now nobody tells you to celebrate every Amavasya, every Purnami, or every, like I told you, some people do the Rahu Kala Puja and so on. But then you must know there is diversity. Out of 20 people, 5 people might be doing that. So it is not a compulsion that you should do this. It is not a compulsion that you should worship all the forms of the Lord, you should follow all the tithis, you should follow all the practices. But yes, diversity is given. Whatever you want, you do. I am present in all the 4 forms, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Purushottama, Sankarshana, apart from the 1000 names of the Lord. Whichever form you want, you worship. If you don't want to worship, that is also your choice. Just as Krishna tells in the Gita, you don't do anything, that is fine. You don't cause trouble to others, this is more than enough. You try to be a good human being, that also I will consider as bhakti. So Chaturvyuhaha literally means one who is present in different forms, and Vyuhaha, just as in the Mahabharata. Who was that? Ashwatthama, right? Ashwatthama, Chakravyuha who had put Ashwatthama, correct? Chakravyuham, Ashwatthama, right? Who had put the Chakravyuha? Abhimanyu, sorry, I got confused. Abhimanyu, correct. Abhimanyu had put the Chakravyuha. So in that, now what exactly was that is, you go inside that and you don't know how to come out, right? So that is, Abhimanyu, he actually, just as when he had put it, and then he didn't know how to come out of that. So it is like a Vyuham. Vyuham is, from all sides you are surrounded, and that itself, it has a science in itself, how the Chakravyuha exactly is formed. So Chaturvyuha is also like that. You have different forms, different methods, everything has been told. But only thing, unlike Chakravyuha, you will not be caught in this. Here in Chaturvyuha, you are open to different forms of the Lord, and that will ultimately build up like a tree, and the tree is nothing but bhakti. So Chaturvyuhaya Namaha, it is the nama, and the Phalashruti is our bhakti. Just as a tree grows, spreads its leaves, spreads its flowers, blossom, and so on, similarly our bhakti also will grow and spread in all directions. Chaturvyuhaya Namaha. Okay, did everyone understand this nama? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Next. Chaturdamshtraha. Damshtraha chatasraha yasya iti chaturdamshtraha. Narasimha vigraha. Now Chaturdamshtraha, this form indicates the Narasimha Rupa of the Lord. There is one who has 4 different types of teeth. Now if you see, we have milk teeth, permanent teeth, wisdom teeth, and so on, different categories. Similarly, the Lord also has. Sadrishyadva Shringam Damshtra Ityuchyate. Narasimha is one form, or even Agni. So you can consider fierce forms of the Lord. That is where we use this nama, Chaturdamshtraha. Now for this there is one story. Now there was a priest, his name was Vishnu Bhatta. Vishnu Bhatta was the name of a priest in a particular place. He was a priest of a temple. And that Lord of that temple, it was Lord Vishnu only. That form, it seems that was very soft like Mallipu. Mallipu is mogra flower, jasmine. So that Lord Malli, as I think the temple is in Tamil Nadu only, so it's Malli, some name is there for the Lord, I suppose. That significance is not there here. It's just said Lord in the form of a jasmine flower. That is a Mallipu. But I think in local Tamil Nadu Sangam literature, I think the reference comes to the Lord also, Malli Andava or something comes there. Meaning, ultimately what it means is the form of that Lord is as soft as the mogra flower, Malli flower. So this Vishnu Bhatta, this priest, it seems that he used to also take care of that Lord in that way, as if no harm should be caused to the Lord. In fact, the fruits that used to be offered as Nevidyam, just as for small children, what we do is we peel the skin, right? We use a peeler or so, we peel the skin, sometimes we even grind it in the mixer and then we give. Or maybe when apple, such fruits also we boil and give it to children, right? So this priest also, whenever we offer fruits as Nevidyam, this priest used to peel the skin of the flowers, the skin of the fruits, and then he used to offer. So some people used to ask that why are you removing the peel and then offering to the Lord? He says that when the Lord eats, when he eats it with the skin, it might be hard. So that's the reason I'm removing the skin and offering. So such was the amount of bhakti that the priest had towards the Lord. And one fine day it so happened that so like this Vishnu Bhatta used to do a lot of bhakti. He was very much devoted to the Lord. He used to take care of the Lord like his own child. And it so happened that in that town there were no rains for years together. It was a drought-like situation, famine. People did not know what to do, and there was no rains. Ultimately, no food. Everything everywhere was dry and so on. Ultimately, what happens is the people in that village, they come and pray to this Lord, and they come and they pray to this Lord and say that you please bless us with rains now, so that we can start about our daily activities, because everything is under trouble. And ultimately, it so happened that rains started coming in, and that place was known for growing sugarcane, ikshuhu, sugarcane. So once it so happened that there was another priest, and one fine day this priest Vishnu Bhatta, he was not there. So another priest, he comes and he offers sugar cane as naivedyam to the Lord, because the 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 place was blessed with rain, so a lot of sugar cane had grown in the fields. So he offers fresh sugar cane. It was during the Tai Masam. I think Tai Masam is November or February. Huh? January, that is after Margaret. Okay, sorry. So you can consider as January, February. Tai Masam, that is usually after December. That's the reason why you see in places in Tamil Nadu especially, that is Chennai or so, you have the rains that start quite later. You don't have much rains in the rainy season, right? November, December, Jan. That's when you have rain-like situation that comes there. Of course, when the rain comes, it comes so heavily that it leads to floods. That is another part. But then usually that is the time wherein that part of India, Bharata Desha, is blessed with rains. So therefore sugarcane had grown there, and fresh during this Tai Masam, it is mentioned, this is in the month of January or so. The Lord, this person, another priest, he brings sugarcane and he offers it to the Lord. At that time, the original priest, Vishnu Bhatta, he comes there. And he's shocked to see sugarcane being offered to the Lord. Because now you imagine even apple and fruits like that, this person used to remove the skin and offer it. And this second priest is offering sugarcane, which is so hard to eat. He called the second priest, asked, who are you? First of all, I had closed this temple and gone, I had locked it. How come you even came inside? This person said, no, the temple was not locked. I came in, I offered sugarcane. He says, okay, however you came in, how come you offer sugarcane? Sugarcane is so hard to eat, the Lord will lose his teeth, it seems. Person says, what you are talking like this? People offer what not, and I am offering sugarcane which has grown in my field because of good rain, so I am giving back whatever I got from the Lord. You are saying the Lord will eat and his teeth will break. As if even normal people's teeth also don't break, right? So why come, like under the name of bhakti, why you become so over attached to the Lord? This is what the other priest, he tells Vishnu Chittavatta. So Vishnu Chitta, he says that Vishnu Chitta, but still he feels bad because his nature was like that. He used to consider the Lord as his own child. So therefore he used to think, no, if you eat sugar cane normally all of us also we eat, is very hard, right? And ultimately after a point you have to spit it out. You cannot consume the whole. So that's the reason why most of us we prefer drinking the juice than eating the fruit that is there. So Vishnu Chitta, he says, no. And now he comes to the original question. He says, I had locked the temple properly. How come you came inside? So now the person who was there, he says, no, I don't know how I came. The door was not open. The door was not locked at all. So now Vishnu Chitta realizes that. Now why all this Leela was done is to tell the world that whatever you offer, whether you offer me hard sugar cane or whether you offer me fruits with the skin removed also, I will accept everything. Whether soft, hard or whatever it is, you offer me, I will accept it. This is the reason why the Lord there, he wanted to show Vishnu Chitta and also all others present there. And that's the reason how the doors had opened by themselves. It seems that whatever Naivedyam you offer, at least a thought came. Through the second priest, a thought came that the land was blessed with rains, he got good produce in his field. The thought came that I should go and offer it to the Lord. So this thought itself, it was more than enough. And to appreciate this and ultimately to give a message to the whole world that whatever you offer to the Lord with full bhakti, that the Lord will eat. And that's the reason Chaturdamshaha, meaning that's the reason it seems that the Lord is born with 4 different kinds of teeth. They are a bit hard, it seems. Molar teeth, wisdom teeth, this, that, whatever we tell, milk teeth, permanent teeth. The Lord also has all these teeth to accept the Naivedyam that is offered by all kinds of devotees. Now what they offer we never know. Some things are hard, some things are soft, some things you don't need teeth at all. You don't have to chew, right? Maybe liquid things also. So to consume all kinds of prasada and to accept all types of Naivedyam, the Lord is blessed with Chaturdamshtaha. Now the Lord having 4 kinds of teeth, this reference also comes in the Valmiki Ramayana. Yuddha Kandam, I think to be precise, the chapter is 114, wherein Valmiki mentions that the Lord has got 4 kinds of teeth, Chaturdamshaha. think the chapter is 114. You can, anyone is interested, you can check. Yuddhakandam, Valmiki Ramayanam, chapter, I assume it is 114. So wherein Valmiki also mentions that the Lord has got 4 types of teeth. So therefore you see, for the sake of his devotees, so here all these nama, these set of nama, if you notice carefully, for the sake of his devotees, the Lord is ready to go to any extent. He is ready to take any different forms that he wants. At the same time, to find his own goddess, as well as to bless his devotees like Garuda, he is ready to take any form. He is ready to go anywhere. That's the reason right from Vaikuntha he comes down to Kumbakonam. Then further he takes different forms to bless us, and at the same time ultimately now Chaturdamshaha, he even has 4 different teeth to accept all kinds of naivedyam that is offered by devotees. So when the Lord is putting so much efforts to accept our bhakti, if ultimately we don't show bhakti even at this stage, now all this I am not saying, all our great scholars have mentioned like Parashara Bhatta and Shankaracharya and so on, when the Lord can do so much to ensure that things are made easy, people don't have to go out of the path. Nobody has told you go to the forest or you go to the Himalayas and do tapasya. Easy, simple things you do. The Lord is ready with 4 to accept our naivedyam. We cannot offer naivedyam, right? So this is where we fall down, and then we sit and complain, oh, the Lord is not blessing me with anything. I have all kinds of sorrows, this and that. The Lord is ready to accept, is waiting for you. That's the reason why in the case of the Lord of Guruvayur also, the Guruvayur temple also, it is said that Lord Krishna there, it seems that he is waiting for his devotees to come. But then devotees, they wait in the line outside for 3 hours, 4 hours, right? 3 hours, 4 hours minimum. Sometimes it can be even more. And there, it seems that the Lord from inside his Sannidhi, he sees all the devotees. Now the Guruvayur Sannidhi, if you see, it is so small, right? Outside it is quite big. Ultimately when you go inside, it becomes small. Then again it spreads out, and then the main Sannidhi comes. So, and the Lord also, if you see, if the Chandana Lepa is there, then we can see. Otherwise, the statue is also black, and the Lord of Guruvayur also, the idol is quite small, right? So by the time we see the Lord, it is hardly for a few seconds. So outside 3-4 hours in the line also, we are grumbling, oh, when will I get, my legs are paining. Some people you see in the line also, they will sit down, this, that, everything we do, right? And ultimately then you go inside, once you see the Lord, immediately people push you. Then what we say, hardly 1 minute we could not see properly, right? So full of grumbling is what devotees do. The Lord says that even though you are grumbling 3-4 hours, you are waiting outside, 1 minute you see, once, not even a minute, hardly for a few seconds you see, and then you go away. But still I have always seen you, I am always seeing you. It is not even needed that you have to come to my Guruvayur Kshetra, but still I am waiting so that I can see you from near. The Lord can see us wherever he is, be it in Vaikuntha, be it in Guruvayur, or wherever it is. The Lord is always having an eye on us. But it seems that we devotees, in spite of being just inside the Guruvayur temple, that is just outside the Sannidhi, still we are not able to see the Lord. That's the reason we say 3-4 hours I am waiting, 3-4 hours I am waiting, I cannot see the Lord. The Lord says that maybe for 1 second you see my physical form, apart from that, why can't you experience my divine form? So the Lord, and he says that moreover, I am always waiting for you to come here. So through all this, what we get to know is the Lord is putting in so much efforts to bless his devotees. We devotees are where we lack in, and even simple everyday things also for us. Now maybe to offer one naivedyam or to chant something also, oh my God, I'm so tired, I cannot do anything, full day. I'm doing this 2 hours, I did this, legs are paining, hands are paining, head is paining, we start. Right? So through this nama, what is being shown is the Lord goes to any extent in order to make life easy and in order to enable devotees to show bhakti towards him. So Chaturdamshtaha, Chaturdamshtraya Namaha, this is a nama, and it seems that when we chant this nama, person will be free from tooth illness, teeth problems that come in, root canal, this, that, a person will be free from teeth illness, it seems. Oh, did everyone understand this nama? Yes? Okay. Next, Chaturbhujaha. Now for this again there is no story as such, it is just a significant nama. Chatvaro bhuja asya iti Chaturbhujaha, meaning one who has got 4 arms. Shankha, Gada, Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam Ichchami Tvam Drashtumaham Tathaiva Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasrabhavo Bhava Vishwamurte. From the Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, chapter 11 of the Gita, wherein in 4 hands, one who is having the Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Kamalam. in all his four hands. That is nothing but Chaturabhujaha. One who gives darshana, who manifests himself having four hands, that is Chaturabhujaha. So this is, you don't have a story here, very significant now. Okay, next. Brajishnu. With this, verse number 15 gets over. Next. Brajishnurbhojanam bhokta sahishnurjagadadijah anagho vijayojeta vishvayo nirpunarvasuhu. First nama Brajishnu. Prakashikara Satvat Brajishnu, meaning that source of light. You can say there is nothing beyond light, that is it. Now for this Brajishnu, if you see, this is something which you can say very much we can relate to recent times. What is going to happen today? Any significant event is happening in the country today? Anyone knows?
Agni will be.
Sorry?
Agni.
What is happening? Sorry?
There is a launch of a space vehicle.
On the sun, right? What is that?
Launch of
Aditya.
the-
Aditya.
Aditya, yeah.
Correct. Launch of Aditya. Why is that being done? To see, to experience Saura Shakti. Saura is solar energy. To see how solar energy is there, the power of the sun and so on. So this is an important launch that is happening. So based on this, as usual, you have some controversy, just as we had the Chandrayaan. I don't know how many of you saw the news yesterday. So then you have some people wherein they go, the people of ISRO and so on, they go to a temple, he did worship, and you saw the controversy that took place, right? Did everyone see that news? People going to temple, and then why he had to go to the temple, some people raise their fingers, right? Did everyone come across that? Did you see that news?
Yes,
You heard, whatever. Yeah. So that is when the person he went now. Person going to a temple showing, but that is his own personal choice. But just so it is for them, it is what they mean was, why should a scientist or why should an astronomer always bring spirituality or bhakti in it? For this Brajishnu, this Nama, why I am telling you all this is, it seems that it accepts or it tries to tell that the different sources of energy or the different scientific elements that are there around, that also has got some divine element. That's the reason why the atom, study of atoms, different particles, muds, everything, still the smallest particle, or there is something in atomic science which we call God's own particle. What is God's own particle? That is because it cannot be broken further. So therefore, when that cannot be broken further, God's own particle. Secondly, you have many references wherein all our great scientists also, they say that whenever they start something, be it Aryabhatta, be it Kanada and so on. Kanada is for Vaisheshika, physics. He has contributed, not physics, you can consider the study of atoms and so on. Whenever they start their own treatises, they have always started with Mangalacharanam. That is, they pray to their own gods and start. Now, for this, a very simple reason, whether you are a believer or whether you are a scientist or whether you are a doctor, whatever it is, even doctors also, what they say, after some point they say, right, no, now nothing can be done, let us leave it to God, you take the person home after a certain stage when they have given their best, but they ultimately what they say, now you leave it. Or when, so that doesn't mean that the doctor is, no, he is a doctor, how can he speak this, he has studied medical science, how can he say this? For everything, when he has given his best, things are not under his control, he says, now let the divine will happen, now you take the person away. So that is the doctor also, at some point you have to accept. Secondly, when a child is born also, till the 9 months are over, till the child comes outside the womb, there is no guarantee whether the child will come or not. Though you have so many sonographies, this, that, everything is being taken, right? Still sometimes due to some complications that come in, the child passes away, right? Or maybe the child is not born. At that time, what the doctor says, no, due to some medical complications, it took place. Maybe he will give you some random reason, heart was like this was like this. So, you see, there is no guarantee that the child which is there inside the womb will surely come out after 9 months. In fact, even after coming out after 9 months also, we see so many children, they pass away, right? Like maybe in a few hours or maybe in a day or so. So, there's no lack of oxygen, it could not bear the outside world, this, that, so many reasons they give. So point is, why I'm telling you all this is, there are many things which even though it is supported by science or medical science, whatever it is, there are things which are still not under our control. Sanjeev, you say.
Yes, madam. I remember when Apple was launched,
Mm.
19th June 1981.
Mm.
The director was Mr. Leo Lasarano.
Mm.
And initially, first stage, it failed.
Mm.
Then he commented, I said that you should break a coconut before sending the satellite. So all people were laughing.
Mm.
Why you say it's break a coconut? He said it's not Hindu tradition, it's an Indian tradition.
Correct.
To break a coconut for auspicious things. So differences are there in many of the things. Which way you look at you look at the Hindu Sanskruti, you look at Indian Sanskruti, it depends upon person to person.
Correct.
That-
Yeah. So for this now Brajishnu, so basically this Nama, what it tries to tell is, and one more, for this you can compare one more reason. You have now, I don't know how many of you maybe saw the recent movie that is there, Oppenheimer. Did anyone at least listen about this Oppenheimer movie? I don't think there are any youngsters here, so maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
You know?
He was a believer and he studied Bhagavad Gita
You studied the
extensively.
Gita, okay.
Got
So,
excellence, yeah.
I myself, I did not go and see the movie, but I just whatever at home, little I could see that. So I didn't go to a theater and see, and then there was a lot of hype around that. So basically, this Nama, it seems that Parashara Bhatta originally, did he include this Nama also? That did he include this belief? That is little, you can consider to be a bit controversial. Did Parashara Bhatta mention about Oppenheimer in the Vishnu Sahasranama? That is, you can consider as a bit of controversy, because that will not be there, because Parashara Bhatta usually belonged to the 12th century, and this Robert Oppenheimer, he was a scientist during the Second World War, so roughly you can consider the last century, right? So it seems that there Oppenheimer, he made a statement. Now why I am telling you this is, Brajishnu, this meaning is source of light. When you see effulgent source of light, meaning how far the Lord is. You now, just by looking at the sun, now all of us, when you look at this, first of all, we cannot look at the sun, right? But then when you look at the sun, it is so bright, right? That's the reason you especially go out in the afternoon time, you feel when I will come back, right? So that is the source of energy. So the greatest source of energy is Brajishnu. That is what is the meaning here. So coming back, the scientist Robert Oppenheimer, he used to say that when about 1,000 suns, when they burst together, what kind of light will be there? That is the light of the Supreme. This is what he says there. This is resembled to the Gita verse. When people say that he has studied the Gita, you have the line in Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, Devi Surya Sahasrasya 1,000 suns. So why Robert Oppenheimer, why he makes a statement here is, I have studied in the Gita somewhere that it has been mentioned Divi Surya Sahasrasya. That is when 1,000 suns burst together, what kind of light will come there? That is the light of the Supreme, which is called as Brajishnu. So you just imagine, we cannot look at even one sun with our naked eye. Imagine 1,000 suns bursting together, what kind of energy and light will be present? That is the light of the Lord, and that's the reason why he is called as Brajishnu. So this is one part. Secondly, why I told you all the scientific explanations and so on is, when people from outside also can come and appreciate, we ourselves don't have time to open our books and see what has been mentioned. So though he was a scientist, he did some nuclear invention and so on, especially in the World War II, whatever nuclear weapons or so inventions he did, that could be used. So mainly his contribution was known for that. But then he had a lot of things, and the same nuclear things, they were used on the two famous Japanese places, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, how they got atomic nuclear invasions, how both of them got destroyed, and it is said that even till today we can see the effects, right? Or even in India also, if you see the Bhopal gas tragedy, it seems that till now also sometimes people who are born there, you see children and so on, they are born sometimes with some deformity. So why all this is being said is, that is the urja, the power of these nuclear weapons, atomic weapons. The same happens even with the sun. So in the sun, the scientist himself says that 1,000 suns bursting together, that source of energy is nothing but Brajishnu. So the Parashruti here, Brajishnave Namaha. Now chapter 11 verse number 12 is writing this, Divi Surya Sahasrasya, meaning Braj, the great one. Now you just imagine 1,000 suns together. Can we even imagine? It is beyond our imagination, right? So Brajishnave Namaha. Just as the sun is a source of light for the entire world, similarly, the Lord is a source of light, or you can say, is our ultimate refuge, whom we have to go to and show bhakti. So this is Brajishnave Namaha. Okay, did everyone understand this Nama? Yes? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll stop here today. Time is up.